there was none like unto Ahab, which did sell himself to work wickedness in the sight of Yahweh, whom Jezebel his wife stirred up.
Oh, hi. I knew you were there. I knew you were there. Are you doing the documentary on the vineyard? My vineyard? You're not going to call it Naboth's vineyard, are you? That's not what we're doing here, right? I don't know why everybody's always calling it Naboth's vineyard. Well, I know why they're calling it Naboth's vineyard, because it used to belong to Naboth. But now it belongs to me because I'm the king. You're not going to paint me out to be the bad guy, are you, like everybody else around here? Everybody's always trying to paint me out to be the evil one because I have this vineyard that used to belong to Naboth, but in my defense, I asked him for it first. It was his fault for saying no. Well, actually, it was his fault that Jezebel found out that he said no. Jezebel's my wife. She's the queen. She gets a lot of things done. She's pretty great. She's really the one I have to thank for this vineyard here. It was when she found out that he said no that she reminded me that I'm the king. That's what she said, I'm the king. Not that I didn't know that, I knew that, but she reminded me, of course, that I was the king and I should have my right to the vineyard. So Jezebel has this incredible idea that we would have a party and we'd put Naboth at his table and he'd feel great and we'd feel great, and then we'd bring in these couple of worthless men of no reputation, dime a dozen. We'd bring a couple of those guys in, and they would make they would make accusations against Naboth. Now, before you say anything, I'm sure at some point in his life or another, Naboth has blasphemed the name of Yahweh. I mean, who hasn't? The chances of them lying are actually pretty low. So they would make these accusations against Naboth in front of everybody. What's he going to say? Nothing. So they make these accusations. Everybody is on board. They're okay with it. They take him out and they stone him. Naboth's gone. Naboth's vineyard just becomes a vineyard for sale. Well, it's not for sale. As a king, I can take whatever I want. So it becomes a vineyard. I take the vineyard. Now it's Ahab's vineyard. Ahab's vineyard. That's the title. That's the title we're going with, right? Okay. Not worried about it. I just wanted to make sure. Everybody's always getting worried about that. But yeah, Jezebel. Let me tell you, what a woman. What a queen. She is a strong, independent lady. Tell you what, guys, don't get in her way. She gets stuff done. She's a real go-getter. People are always saying that. She's a go-getter. I think I know what it means. But she's a real go-getter. And you know what? For instance, the praise, the worship around this place. I mean, we used to be into this whole one God, one Yahweh thing, and it was great and all. I enjoyed it. I'm not gonna, but Jezebel, I married Jezebel, and she brings all these great ideas. We've got Asherah and Baal and the wine god and all so many gods. What's better than one God? Multiple gods. And our numbers prove it. Our numbers prove it. You should look at we are off the charts. I tell you what, we're off the charts. You guys get that? You're going to leave it in, right? You're not going to take that out? Okay. All right. So, yeah, everything's been going pretty great. Except for this one guy. This one guy, pesky little guy, calls himself Elijah. Calls himself a lot of things. Calls himself a prophet. That guy. Now you got me talking about him in my documentary. Everything was going great. Now you're going to put me in a bad mood in my vineyard, in my documentary. So get this. I just become king. Oh, I'll tell you why I'm mad. I just become king. They put this nice shiny crown on my head. That's what's rightfully mine. And I marry this beautiful woman, Jezebel, who I've already told you about. She's great. I marry this beautiful woman, Jezebel, and she brings all this great worship, and people love it. Our ratings are through the roof. The happiness is at an all-time high. And this guy, Elijah, storms into my palace and tries to tell me that we're doing everything wrong. Me and Jezebel have just ruined everything, and we're ruining the kingdom, and we're ruining worship, and all this stuff that it is my fault. I did all this stuff wrong. And then, if that's not enough to walk in and insult the king, he decides to tell us that the nation's going to starve for the next 3 years. Maybe not me and Jezebel because we're royalty, but yes, the rest of the country was going to starve. And so then we have to go into he does some black magic and causes a famine. And now for 3 years, the people that I'm ruling don't have much food. Thanks a lot, man. You ruined the worship and you ruined dinner. So get this. One day Elijah decides, being a prophet, that he's going to prove a point. And so he asks us to take all of our men up to the top of Mount Carmel. So we take all of our prophets of Baal, one of our new gods. You should check it out. We take all of our prophets of Baal up to the top of Mount Carmel, and he comes up and he says this. He says, hey, I'll set up an altar to Yahweh, and I'll pray to him to come down and consume the altar, and you set up altars to your prophet or your god of Baal. And we'll both pray, and whoever's altar gets consumed first, we'll know who the real God is. He's still on this one God kick, so you gotta work with him. It's a thing. So we say fine. So we go up there, we do the whole thing, we traipse up this mountain, and we get up there, and we're praying and praying and praying. And you should have seen it. We were really praying, and everyone's getting into it. It's a whole multiple God thing. Everybody's into this worship. It's great. And right as we're getting into it, before Baal even has a chance to make a move, Elijah stages this big pyrotechnic show where all these flames come down. I mean, right out of heaven. It was like from the sky, these flames come down and they just consumed this whole altar. And it was really something, actually. It was pretty impressive. But yeah, I don't know how he would have staged it, because the thing is, we all went up together. We would have seen if he brought stuff. And he's on the ground, and all the flame, I mean, they came right out of the sky. It was like almost miraculous, like unbelievable, like divine almost. But anyway, I would have read more into it, but fortunately my wife Jezebel, she was there to get me back on track, and she tells me, right, oh, he staged it, he's cheating, he's just trying to, push out our new worship of Baal. She's not the boss of me, but sometimes I believe some of the stuff she says. Sometimes I believe some of the stuff Elijah says, but it's neither here nor there. She's not going to see this, right? This is not, okay. You could just cut that whole section out, that last thing I said, just take it out. But anyway, so then after that, get this. So after that, Elijah comes to me and he says, hey, Ahab, King Ahab. And he says, get on your chariot and go all the way back to Jezreel and go quick, because there's big storms coming and water's going to pour down from the sky, and you got to get in front of this. And so I'm thinking, well, I don't necessarily believe he's a prophet, but what happened on the mountain was kind of impressive. And so I'm kind of torn, between a rock and a hard place. And so I said, well, I better not take my chances. I'm the king. What would people do without me? So I get on my chariot and I start heading back to Jezreel. And I am flying. Horses way faster than anybody being on foot. And then I see the storm behind me, and out of nowhere, this Elijah guy on foot goes flying past me. I mean, he outpaced me. He beat me all the way to the city. It was really something, actually. I mean, I've never seen anybody run that fast. Never. There's something up with that guy. Something. Anyway, you guys want a snack or something? Do you want some grapes? They're great. They're right out of the vineyard here. Right out of my vineyard. This brand new one. Well, since you brought it up, since we're talking about it, sometimes I do think, I hope what I did wasn't wrong. I guess you could say that what we did to Naboth wasn't the most honest thing when I really think about it. And there was this time that Elijah came to me and explained everything I had done, and something about what he said that time really hit home. And I went so far as to tear my clothes, and I put sackcloth and ashes on, and I really just thought kind of long and hard about the way things were going in the kingdom, and how much things had changed. I think I think Elijah kind of thinks if I hadn't married Jezebel, I wouldn't be where I was today. But fortunately for me, I did find Jezebel, and I did marry her, and we've done all these amazing things, and things are great. I mean, are you getting this view? Am I in the way? Are you getting this view? Something else. I've talked way too long. I'm supposed to, Jehoshaphat, my main man, Jehoshaphat, him and I, we're going into battle. We're going to conquer another one. Victory every time, always. But get this. Come on, come closer. So get this. Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, and I are going to go into battle. But he's going to dress up like me. Can you believe he bought it? He's going to dress like me. I'm going to be dressed like a regular soldier. I get a front row seat to one of the biggest battles of this week in complete safety. If one of those knucklehead amateur archers doesn't fire off a rogue arrow, I tell you what, those guys are so trigger happy that, you know what, don't get me started. I gotta go. It's been nice chatting, and you guys just let me know when this airs, okay? See you guys.